Set default. Set default. Oh, really? Really OBS. Say something?
Hello?
Oh,
Testing.
okay. Yeah. That's wonderful. I don't even know what happened there. All right. I think we're on track now. I think we're getting sound, and that's what matters. Uh, um. All right. So yeah, go ahead and rewind as far as you would like to.
Okay, from the top. I am now about 90 hours into Persona. I
Mhm.
think I'm almost done. I'm pretty sure I'm on the last Mind Palace. At this point, I'm about to drop, I think, what will be my last calling card, unless there's another big twist. I will say that the twist that I've got to so far was kind of predictable a little bit.
A little bit.
Little bit. I mean, like when you try to figure out like who's on your side and who's not, it's not exactly a shocker on what like what happens. Um, and yeah, the last palace, if it's indeed the last palace, is really a slog. It just takes a long time, and you use up a lot of spell power really quickly, and yeah. Um, and there's a point where you're hit with like multiple boss fights in a row that are just like, just try to be as vague as possible, but it's definitely a lot to go through. But it's still, game is fantastic. Cast of characters, I think probably for me might fall definitely behind 4, maybe behind 3
Mhm.
overall for the characters. I think the story is maybe the best story, simply because I think the story is a lot more fleshed out, and the stakes seem to be a lot higher, and so they really kind of connected the story to everything going on. Um, as opposed to, it just feels like there's more to the story than there was in like 4 or
Mhm.
3. Um, and yeah, I can't wait to kind of put a button in it and play through it my first time. I'm sure I'll eventually come back to it. It feels like there's not nearly as much time as I want in this game. Like, even 90 hours in, I've only like naturally reached max like friendship status with, I think, 2 characters that you don't automatically do through story.
Mhm.
So it feels like I could have used a lot more time to do stuff. But I think that's always kind of a Persona game for you. But it just feels like I had more. It felt like I had more time in the other games.
Yeah.
Um, I was kind of, before the audio cut out, I was joking about the fact that I am a little creeped out by some of the romance options in this game, because you are definitely a sophomore in high school. So that means you're probably about 15, and you can definitely romance like adults in this game.
But I'm not gonna argue it's not creepy, but as a sophomore in high school, aren't you like 16, 17? No, you're
Uh,
right. 15, 16, I think. Never mind. All right, never mind.
15, 16, and like definitely there's some of these, and then definitely there's like a lot, like there are adults you
Yeah.
can hit on. Um, like, kind of minor early spoiler alert, you could basically hit on your like much older teacher, and that could be a romance thing if you want it to be, and that's just like a news headline waiting to happen right there. Um,
It's fun in Japan.
well, anyways, fantastic game. One of the best JRPGs ever made. One of the best games for PlayStation 4. It's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. I'm not going to pretend like it is, but if you're looking for something fun, if you're looking for something worth your money, like I said, I'm almost at 90 hours and I'm not done yet. And it's not like I've done everything there is to do either. The game is just like that big. It's just like massive. It's like a lot of value for your dollar. So hopefully next week I'll be able to report on the ending and give my final impressions. Only other thing I really had going on this week is I watched the movie Split by M. Night Shyamalan,
Okay.
and it was good, actually. He made another good film, and the ending is one of the most freaking amazing, for me personally, is one of like the most freaking amazing endings I've ever seen in a movie. It was really cool.
I want to ask questions, but I feel like I'm gonna watch that soon, and also I don't want to spend too much time in this section. But yeah, so what's the biggest, best number one change or improvement that you've seen from Persona 4 into Persona 5?
Um, I think, and I think some of this might have come back from old games, but the gameplay has been kind of modified and teased. There's like the addition of gunplay in the game,
Hmm.
um, and like negotiation stuff where you could like talk your opponents out of battle.
Yeah.
Like I said, the level design on the mind palaces are fantastic. Like they're actually interesting, and they're not just like a straightforward slog through, just like a dungeon, much like many JRPGs. You really don't know what's going to happen when you start up, because you think it's pretty straightforward, and then all of a sudden something will throw you completely sideways. And like I said, and like the other big thing as I've mentioned throughout my playthrough, they did a really good job of making building up your friendships more appealing, because they added like a really honestly useful like reward system where like befriending certain people will give you skills that are like essential to the game. Like I probably for instance, there's one girl that you can befriend, and as you befriend, and she's even kind of like a fairly minimal plot point, but the benefit she gives you is huge, because she'll give you these like she'll basically give you these tactics to be able to use during like your battles. And like a pretty huge one is that she gives you fairly early on the ability to swap out your party members mid combat, and that's kind of huge.
Yeah, indeed. Well, I'm happy that you've been enjoying it, especially since you had to wait for so long to get your hands on it. Chris, what have you been up to this week?
Well, first of all, I don't know if either of you have gotten around to seeing it yet, but I recently watched Teen Titans: The Judas Contract, the animated movie.
I need to.
And yeah, that right there. Yep. And it started out kind of rough. The first 20 minutes is pretty generic, I feel. And I'm sorry, but DC's never gonna get me to like the character of Jaime Reyes. He always just whines about how the thing attached to his back doesn't cooperate with him, and I almost shot my friends this time, and whatever, dude. I don't care. Like a whinier version of Venom. But it had to make a lot of changes from the comic book version of Judas Contract, because for some reason they decided this one was going to be in their continuity with their like New 52 animated features. But all in all, I ended up liking it. It's fairly solid. They actually handled the Terra and Deathstroke stuff surprisingly close to the source material. There was a lot of cussing for some reason. It felt kind of out of place. But yeah, all in all, I liked it. Did either of you get to see it?
Not yet.
A really cool dude gave me a free code to it, so I need to like sit down and watch it. But
I don't know, he's an okay dude.
I don't like him personally.
Did you actually see it was just announced today that there's going to be a live-action Teen Titans TV show?
Yes. But exclusive to DC's own streaming service that they're launching.
I saw that. DC's going to have their own streaming service, huh?
With season 3 of Young Justice.
Really?
What's wrong?
Yep. That's that. That was my thought, Miles.
That makes me very upset.
Yep.
What's wrong, DC? Did Crackle say no?
Or Netflix, where it was supposed to be in the first place.
Right.
I don't care about the Teen Titans thing. I just want a Young Justice.
The whole reason it got revived was because of that crazy petition that actually did something that was do Young Justice season 3 on Netflix. But nope, they're launching their own service.
See, I said Crackle because I was making the joke that they couldn't even get like a like Z level like streaming service to like jump on.
I know. But yeah, they've said it's going to have Dick Grayson, Starfire, Raven, and Jeff Johns did a tweet about it and said #Beast Boy, so that could potentially be a confirmation there. I don't see how they can do Beast Boy though, but it's something to look forward to.
I have some real questions about the budget level of this potential show.
Right. Yeah.
It's going to have to be really high, especially if they're going to be putting Beast Boy in there, because otherwise it's just going to look like all the CG on The Flash, which, like,
yep.
I understand it's on TV, but good God, it looks bad.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's going to be the flagship, basically, for their streaming service, so they might actually throw a lot of money into it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Do we know what else they're going to have on their streaming service? Because it feels like that's kind of bold to be like, we're going to have a DC Comics streaming service.
Those are the only two things they've announced so far. You'd have to assume once the contracts expire with Netflix that they'll put Justice League up there, the cartoon series, all the the DC animated stuff from the past.
Yeah, honestly, if they are digging into the past, they actually have quite a bit of stuff to work with between comics or between animated stuff and live action stuff, especially with all the CW stuff that they're doing right now.
The original Flash, perhaps.
Yep.
All right, if you want to see that, yeah.
I really hope the Super Friends. Please, can we watch the Super Friends?
Yeah, I actually would.
Yeah, I give it
that show was so amazingly bad. It was wonderful.
Yep. But other than that, I finished Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
Congratulations.
And I probably put about 70 hours into it. I'm guessing. I don't think I ever saw a timer anywhere. But it's a solid game overall. If I was going to review it, I probably would have given it a 7.8. That's me personally. But
and you would have been crucified regardless.
yeah, like Jim Sterling gave it a 7-something, and people sent him death threats and unsubscribed and all that insanity.
Because people are dumb sometimes.
Do you guys want to go spoilers on this real quick?
Don't go too far, but yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, Adam. Are you right with that?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say. Well, it's been out for a couple months now. I don't care. I've beat it.
I just want to say the version of Ganon that's in this game. Holy crap! It's almost like something out of Bloodborne. Yeah. Like his first form. That was amazing. I did not think he was gonna look like that. He looked more traditional later on, slightly, but holy crap!
Yeah.
And it was a fun fight.
So I want to hear about because we talked a little bit about like the approach to the final boss. How did that go for you?
Getting there or just the actual battle?
The getting there.
It's so weird because I had already been to Hyrule Castle before because I was chasing the memory side quest, and one of the memories is at the castle, and I had to use a guide to find it because I assumed it wouldn't be there, but no, you had to go there. So I had already figured out my plan of attack for climbing it, and going from the west, climbing up a part of it, and then I basically just ran up the spiral sidewalk. Nothing exciting. I just went through each gate that would lock behind you, and they would throw like a Lionel at you. And I just kept ascending until I got to Ganon. So it was nothing too exciting, but at that point I was kind of ready for the game to be over. So it was the quickest.
There's other ways, though. Apparently, there's a lot of interior of the castle you can go through and stuff. Because I basically managed to skip most of the gates, and I went through about one gate and somehow got there. Another question. Now that you beat him, now have you read yet what happens if you actually go to the castle straightway?
No.
Like if let's say you get off of that like little beginning continent and you go straight there.
Yeah, no, I haven't read anything.
So here's this is crazy. So apparently, and this is spoilers, everybody, but if you were like young little Link and decided just to run straight to the castle, you can do it. I mean, it'd be hard because having 3 hearts or 4 hearts and trying to go through all that is hard. But apparently, basically the way it works is every divine beast you do not defeat, or every Ganon Guardian you do not defeat by going through a divine beast temple, you have to fight that before you get to fight the actual boss fights.
Wow, that's tough with 3 hearts.
Yeah, so essentially you have to go through 4 bosses, then him, and also he doesn't get that health reduction that he gets as a result of defeating so that's pretty intense.
Yeah.
That sounds like something. That sounds like some speedrunner stuff that they're probably going to manage to get down to 20 seconds. And
people have already done it. I've seen somebody do it in about an hour at this point.
All right, then I actually might have to look that up because that sounds like I would never want to play through such a challenge, but that sounds like something I would enjoy watching at least.
Yeah. So one last thought on Breath of the Wild before I never talk about it again is I did not give Nintendo credit for their enemy designs and how they behaved and how difficult they were, because they're all basically traditional Zelda enemies, but they are all on crack. Like the Octorocks and the Deku Sprouts, they are living mortar cannons. I would just get blindsided constantly by a giant boulder, just bam, back of the head, knocking Link over like a ragdoll, which, by the way, ragdoll physics, those were fun too. So, and just one-on-one enemy encounters were intense. I could not believe how difficult a swarm of bokoblins were in the very beginning. I was like, really? These chumps have killed me 4 times? I got to go around them. I got to sneak. That was a lot of fun.
My least favorite enemies were those little flying wizard dickheads.
Yeah, same here.
Those guys piss me off so much.
Yep.
My least favorite enemy was none of them because I didn't play the game. Oh no, my least favorite enemy was the weapon degradation system. There you go.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get into that again, but yes.
Did you get the Master Sword?
Yeah.
Because that really helps things along.
I looked up how to upgrade the stupid inventory slots, and I accidentally found the Master Sword. I was like, oh, well, there's that.
Happy accidents.
Did you also get the Hyrule Shield? Because that also really helps.
No, I thought I had read it was in one of the mazes, so I found all 4 mazes on my own and went through them, got all the loot, and no, but apparently it's in a maze or a dungeon in the bottom of Hyrule Castle or something.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I never got it.
Well, gentlemen, my week has been crappy, so there's nothing to really say about it. But there is something to say about
the news from nowhere.
Again, you all can't hear that, so the cue is kind of worthless. But anyway, let's just go ahead and jump into the news. So, first bit of news tonight. I'm trying to decide if I want to talk about the 2022 Olympics or the... yeah, let's go with Peter Molyneux, because I love talking trash about him when I get the chance. So, Fable creator feels reborn working on new game. Legacy... Or, this was an interview with IGN. And I quote from Peter Molyneux, that's an incredible sensation to feel at 57 years old. Populous and Fable creator Peter Molyneux has shed light on Legacy, the new game he's currently developing at Studio 22K, saying he feels reborn working on the project. On the last episode... Let's see if I can cut out some of this stuff that's not really necessary. Molyneux made it clear he has no plans to leave game development anytime soon. When asked if Legacy might serve as the final project of his career, he said the game's title shouldn't be taken as any sort of indication that his time as a designer is about to end. Quote, I feel reborn. I'm now working as hard on Legacy as I worked on Black and White, as I worked on Populous, as I worked on anything. Really, Peter? He said, fortunately, I've got my electronic cigarettes, so I don't have to fill up my trash can, my ashtray with cigarette butts anymore. Alright, but I'm eating pizza and I'm drinking Mountain Dew, so I feel reborn. Alright. Molyneux went on to express his passion for the project, which rivals that of his prior work. All that fascination and energy that I had around Black and White and Fable and Dungeon Keeper and Populous, I feel that, and that's an incredible sensation to feel at 57 years old. I can't wait to get back to my computer and work on the feature that I was working on this morning at 4 o'clock in my hotel room. Molyneux remained tight-lipped about the project itself, saying, I'm not sure what this game is going to end up being, but I can promise you this, you've never seen anything like it. Oh, Peter Molyneux, you keep doing the same stuff and not learning. I didn't even know he was working on anything right now. That could just be how much I try not to pay attention to him, but do either of you know anything about Legacy?
No, I thought he retired.
We hoped. No, I knew he hadn't retired, but he just kind of disappeared. I was hoping he was like in the backgrounds nowadays, so he couldn't come on stage and say this is gonna be like nothing you've ever seen before, even though I don't know what I'm talking about right now.
He secretly made No Man's Sky.
That would make so much sense.
Yes, if Sean Murray went into a room and took off a mask and it was Peter Molyneux beneath it, and there's just like a camera on him, I would be surprised because that's weird, but I would not be surprised because I would expect that to happen. Jesus, yeah, he's a guy. Like, it's weird how like all of his games are like okay at least, but they're just never the. I can't use the comparison I use with my friends here because it's really inappropriate. But it's never as good as he wants it to be, pretty much.
Yeah, he's not a game designer. He is a hype man. He is the best hype man any project could ever have. He should just do that as for a living. And by the way, when we do see this new game, when he's on stage talking about it, showing something, it's like nothing you've seen before. It's going to look like everything we've seen before. There's going to be a little bit of everything we've ever seen in whatever he shows.
I actually think that Fable, really pretty much any Fable game I've played are probably good, in some cases borderlining on possibly great. They just weren't game changers is what they were. And the problem is if you didn't try to sell them like they were, I think people would have remembered them fondly. Because I thought the Fable one was a good game.
Don't get me wrong. Fable's a good series, and I had some fun with that series. But my point is just like Molyneux himself as a being that lies out of his teeth. Like, you will care so much about this dog. This dog will be like your real life dog. And I'm sitting there listening to it like, oh my god, I've never been allowed to have a dog. This will be a new experience. And you know how many times I paid attention to the dog? Zero. There you go. Zero. Now the camera can see it. Put a
Because
line
the
through it.
dog was just there. The dog
Yeah.
followed you. Every once in a while, it did something for you.
Yeah. Peter Molyneux cannot be trusted. That's my opinion on this article.
Was there ever a game dog you actually cared about?
Dogs in games.
I can't remember his name, so that should tell you something. But I actually cared a lot about trying to keep the stupid dog in Fallout 3 alive, just because the AI was so terrible for companions.
Dog meat.
Dog meat, yeah.
Oh,
There we go.
the dog from Dragon Age, the original Dragon Age Origins.
Oh yeah, that dog was cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
I named it Barkspawn, and it was on my team for so long.
Nice.
Yeah, like I don't know why, I just liked watching it like jump people in the middle of battle and just tackle them, look around, and like go for the throat.
Well, that dog was a beast.
Yeah.
It wasn't a typical dog.
No, it was far from typical. It was a Mabari bloodhound, I believe.
Wow, good
Yeah.
memory. That sounds right.
The game Valiant Hearts: A Great War has a playable dog.
Oh,
That's a
yeah.
good dog. It was a good dog.
Yeah, that's a dog you gotta care for. If you don't, you don't have a soul.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But yeah, Peter Molyneux is gonna lie to us again, because that's what he does. Let's move on to the next story. Adam, take us off.
Yeah, so unsurprisingly, Persona 5, a bunch of Persona 5 spin-offs are being hinted at by like trademark registry. Atlas has registered several Persona 5 related domains to suggest spin-offs of the recently released RPG could be on the horizon. The domain registration was spotted by Twitter user Mystic Distance, who noted that both P5D and P5U were registered this week on April 18th. As reported by Persona Central, several other domain names were registered, including P5AG, P5Arg.jp, Persona of Dance JP, PQ2, Persona 8.jp, Persona 9.jp, and Persona 10.jp. While registration for Personas 8 through 10 are almost certainly a forward-thinking move by Atlas to secure the names for the distant future, the P5-related domains could point to new spin-off games. After all, Persona 4 received several spin-offs, including the rhythm-based Dancing All Night, which oddly enough has a Persona 5-inspired outfit hidden in its game data. Persona 4's other spin-offs include a pair of fighting games, Arena and Arena Ultimax. As such, it's quite possible that P5D and P5U are for Persona 5 Dancing All Night and Persona 5 Arena Ultimax, respectively. Yeah, I mean, Atlas is going to totally like milk this series for all that it's worth. So yeah, I'm pretty much about 90% sure that we're going to be getting Persona 5 Dancing All Night, and we'll be getting a Persona 5 like arena game, and then probably another Persona arena game that has Persona 3 through 5 all together.
Yeah.
And if like the indication of P3 and P4, it wouldn't really shock me if a couple years down the road they do some kind of like Persona 5 Crimson or something like that. That's going to be like a slightly done up version of the game, maybe with like some extra storyline to it.
Yeah.
The big thing I'm kind of curious about is I think that Persona is now as more mainstream than ever. I think probably with the release of 5, though admittedly I haven't seen any sales numbers in the US yet. But I'll just be kind of curious to see how quick they try to get like the next one out, or if it's going to be another long drawn out process.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way they're not gonna be spin-offs. Let's just go ahead and like you said, they're the biggest that they're gonna be. Well, not that they're gonna be right now, but it's heavily in the public eye, and also you have to think like it's their biggest franchise. Like I know I prefer Shin Megami Tensei, but there's no getting around it. Like they have Shin Megami Tensei, Persona, and then what other like solid continual series do they have? I'm like looking through the list right now. They don't make the 999 games, do they?
Yes, no. That's that's done by I think the same people that do Ding and Rampa.
Yeah. So they don't have that. They pretty much their whole list. Dragon's Crown's on here, but that's one game.
They made Catherine.
Yes, they did. That's on here, but it's this is their biggest cash cow. Persona and Shin Megami Tensei, more overly Persona. So there's no way they're not planning something, even if these are just like pictures. Etrian Odyssey is on there. Even if these are just pictures, like if someone like confused JP for JPEG and they're just pictures, they're gonna happen. It's just a thing.
I've got a pitch for like the Persona 5 spin-off. This is like kind of half joke and half like, I mean, since we've already done Dancing All Night, this isn't really that far of a jump, based upon the storyline elements of Persona 5. So you're like, okay, your parental guardian, the guy who owns like the coffee shop, he's always like cooking the curry and stuff. What if like boss like decides to upgrade and he like buys like a restaurant and it's like cooking with Persona?
I could see myself enjoying this. Is it gonna be like, is it like Cooking Mama, or is it like what's the game that came out recently that's like you play it with people and it's kind of difficult?
Oh God, what's it called? But cooking. I'm thinking cooking with Mama. Okay. It's the Persona style.
That would be hilarious. You could bring in your teacher. She's just like, I'll cook you the best curry you've ever had, and then we'll do very questionable things later.
Now, see, I can't wait for the inevitable Persona spinoff that will be a crossover with Fast and Furious. Turn-based street racing.
That sounds
Figure that out.
Awful, actually. Like, I'm sure it's doable. Like, you would make turns or, like, drift and stuff.
Figure out the most strategic time to use nitrous.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, he just debuffed me, so my wheels are busted. Let's use nitrous and fly off the freaking side of the mountain. Yeah. I can't wait to see what they're gonna do, though. I mean, I personally, I enjoy the Persona fighting game a bit. One of my friends kind of made it worse, just because he was a button spammer and he like played Teddy, and apparently spamming on Teddy is just like, oh, okay, you're a pro player now. You could go ahead and take this to Evo. So that wasn't so much fun, but everything else was nice.
Of course, you can like button spam Teddy. Teddy is like the exact character and personality that's meant for button spamming.
Yeah, that's
yeah. I'll pretty much play. Will pretty much play almost any kind of spin-off they throw at me, if for nothing else, to experience the story. Though I'll admit that Persona Q didn't really take me much.
I didn't actually play that one, but that's not surprising. I don't have a DS. So. But yeah, spin-offs are a thing, people. They're gonna keep being a thing as long as you keep buying these games, and you should, because they're great. Speaking of spin-offs, that's all you.
All right. Okay. Well, Capcom. Capcom, who has lived long enough to see themselves become the villain, released a new story trailer for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Did either of you guys watch it by chance?
It is on my watch later list. I have not had a chance to.
Not yet.
It is kind of awkward. The graphics are weird somehow. The voice acting is terrible. And there was a awkward interaction with Mega Man X and Rocket that was kind of awesome too. But yeah, so the trailer was okay, I guess. But they released some other information alongside this trailer, such as additional characters that are going to be in it. And I pulled this from blog.us.playstation.com. We're pleased to announce the following additions to the Infinite roster, which is Ultron, who is one of the villains along with Sigma from Mega Man X, Hulk, Thor, Hawkeye, Rocket Raccoon, Chun-Li, Strider, Hiryu, whatever. And my boy from Resident Evil, Chris Redfield.
So basically a bunch of people that have already been in the games before.
Yep.
Pretty much. Is Ultron even new?
Actually, Ultron's very new. He's very new.
Okay.
And
I was glad to see that they are still in their more comic book based forms. They don't look like they're straight out of the movies.
Captain America does, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. And they released details for different editions of the game, such as the standard edition, which is, of course, is $60. But you will, if you pre-order, you will receive a Warrior Thor and Evil Ryu premium costumes. The deluxe edition, which is $89.99, and includes the previous mentioned costumes and 2 additional costumes, Gladiator Hulk and Command Mission X, which I would actually like to have that costume. It also includes the 2017 Character Pass, which gives you access to 6 post-launch characters, the first one being Sigma himself, Sigma being from Mega Man X and one of the other villains. And the Collector's Edition, which I wish so badly I could afford, is going to retail for $199.99. And it comes with 4 interlinking dioramas made by Triforce of Chun-Li, Mega Man X, Captain Marvel, and Iron Man. And they all look pretty awesome, although I don't think it says anywhere what the size is. And the photo is a promotional image. It's not necessarily going to be in scale with everything else. So we'll see. I got burned by the Resident Evil 5 Collector's Edition where it said Chris Redfield figure included, and he was 1.5 inches tall.
Yeah, I'd be pissed about that, personally.
Yeah, but it also includes a fancy-looking sort of jewelry box containing 4 LED-powered Infinity Stones and the deluxe edition of the game.
6.
And this is releasing in September. I can't see the specific date anywhere, but yeah, coming September sometime.
The Infinity Stones is what had my interest.
Yeah,
right.
Same. I don't have anywhere for the characters to go.
Yeah, but the X statue I like a lot, but I'm a sucker for life-size replicas, and those Infinity Stones, they look awesome. I do wonder if they can be removed from the case or if they're attached to it so the lights can work, but it's still a nice display piece.
If they are attached, I would hope it's like something you can plug in. So it's like they have like a place you can set them where you put them down on it and just like there's a light in it. Yeah. Otherwise, that's really dumb.
Right.
Yeah, this is pretty neat. I mean, everyone knows how I feel about fighting games. I will watch Evo I will literally sit there for the weekend Evo's going and just sit there and watch it all day. So I'm excited. Any new fighting game that looks like it's gonna bring some new life to the competition is enough for me to be hyped for. And some of the stuff sounds pretty cool. Like Gladiator Hulk. I mean, I know that's just a skin, but still.
Yeah.
And Adam, you said the Infinity Stones would have your attention?
Yes, I mean I'm not gonna drop $200 on that, but I will be picking it up because I like those games.
Yeah. I did watch the trailer while you were reading over. No sound, of course, so we don't get a copyright strike or anything. I don't know how I feel about Ultron just combining with Sigma. That seems kind of silly. It's interesting. It's kind of silly or interesting, I guess, that not Ragnarok, Thor, where he's from, Valhalla.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Asgard.
Asgard. Okay.
Yeah. How Asgard keeps getting taken over by people. Like, keeps getting taken over by people. So that's interesting. I guess they'll have to explain that. And yeah, that moment between Mega Man and Rocket was still a little awkward, even without sound. So I'm assuming it's even worse when I have the volume turned on. Yeah, this will be neat. Oh, it comes out September 9th, by the way. Or 19th, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you guys more excited? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What are you guys more excited for at this point? Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite or Injustice 2?
Oh, Injustice, by far.
In terms of story, Injustice, just because I don't even know the story for any of the Marvel vs. Capcoms has been so far.
There isn't one, that's why.
Well, there is one. It's just not very good.
It's really only covered in like the endings if you go through the arcade mode.
They're like, hey, here's your big villain. This is the reason why everyone's coming together. But in terms of actually seeing the fighting game like at Evo, actually I guess it's still Injustice because I don't really know how Marvel vs. Capcom is going to play because it could be a complete flop and everyone could be like, we hate this and we're not going to play this. Whereas at least Sonic Fox is going to be knocking people all over the place in Injustice 2, regardless. So
I'm probably more excited for Injustice 2 as well, simply because I know that I'm going to get like a fully fleshed out story mode, and the whole upgrade system sounds really interesting. So I can't wait to see how that plays out.
I'm a sucker for customization, so that got my attention when they were like, "Hey, this is a thing," and I'm like, "I'm not going to be playing competitively, so I can do whatever I want."
Yeah. Did you guys see the announcement for the multiverse mode for Injustice 2?
No, I didn't.
Tell me about it.
It's basically just the challenge tower from Mortal Kombat, but it's a way for people who don't want to play online against other players to still be able to grind and unlock all that awesome new gear for the characters.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I can dig it.
Yep.
I definitely feel like Capcom's fighting games probably have the better overall mechanics, maybe, but I think that by far, I think NetherRealm, or whatever technically the people that make those games, they have the better overall package on offer with their games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're getting like a fully fleshed out game that's not just like an arcade mode.
Right.
Yeah, I'll give you that, and because X-rays are a kind of playing Injustice with my friends, that was the easiest way to piss them off the fastest. To just like sit there and build up meter until you can X-ray, or sit there and grab stage interactables and throw them at them. Like I beat one of my friends just throwing stuff at him the whole match, and that was where we stopped playing for that night. And keep in mind that was after I beat him 50 times in a row, so it was.
Whoa.
Yeah, he was very unhappy by that point. I remember the point where I knew where he was getting pissed was like, can we just turn those off or something? Is that something we can do? And I'm like, no. Oh yeah, so yeah, definitely. Capcom is definitely more skill reliant, whereas Injustice is more funsy, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So speaking of funsy and something that wasn't very fun, so there's no clue why they're doing this. There's a company that has a story that is not opening. There we go. 6 years after its release, Two Worlds 2 gets a new expansion and season pass. Who's still playing that? Remember Two Worlds 2? If you liked it when it came out 6 years ago, you may want to dust off your copy as the game is getting a new expansion and a season pass. The PC expansion titled Call of the Tenebrae. We talked about this before, didn't we?
I think so.
Yeah, I think there were like rumblings about it, and now it's actually a thing now. Delivers an engine update, new areas and characters, and a bevy of new main story and side missions. Publisher Topware Interactive also revealed a season pass, including Call of the Tenebrae. The pass also entitles players to a second upcoming expansion, Shattered Embrace, and 2 multiplayer map packs. Call of the Tenebrae will release on May 25th for $10 as an expansion or $15 as a standalone adventure. Unfortunately for console players, the new content isn't coming to Xbox 360 and PS3. Surprise! Oh no. Yeah, back in 2011, when Game Informer reviewed Two Worlds 2, they gave it a 7.75. I'm not gonna say that Two Worlds 2 was horrible. I think Two Worlds, the first Two Worlds, I know me and my friends played that demo because it was like endless for some reason, and it was almost like playing the full game, and just enjoyed the horribleness that game was. I'm looking for the taint, and drip drip drop, smells like my in-laws. That game was something.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess for $10, if you're looking to just screw around and maybe enjoy it with some friends, there you go. Because I don't think the game costs much. Let's find out. What are y'all's opinions while I look up how much this game costs on Steam?
I never really touched it. Like my understanding of Two Worlds is like at least the original one was a game that had a lot of potential and then failed all of it.
Yep.
$6, maybe.
You are overshooting heavily, sir.
Wow.
So the game right now, at this very moment, on Steam is $2, and it's $2. I'm just gonna say $2. $2.19. The Velvet Edition, I don't know what that means, is $2.74. The Two Worlds Collection, which I'm pretty sure comes with everything, is $3.99. Keep in mind, all this stuff is on sale, actually, so if it's not on sale, for this week, those are the sale prices. It's marked down 89%. to 90%. If it's not on sale, it's like $20, which is not worth it in my opinion. But its historical lowest price is $1.99. So yeah, there you go, folks. Pick it up now if you want to play it, because otherwise it's not going to be worth it. I can almost guarantee you.
Yeah.
Kind of on like. Oh, you go, Chris.
I was just gonna say, good for those developers staying productive.
Too bad they're not eating or have a place to live or anything like that.
Are they being productive though? Like, it's been 6 years and they're working on it. Are they?
They haven't hanged themselves. That's what we can say. They haven't hanged themselves. They did something.
I guess. Let's see if they've done anything else in the time. Like, maybe if this is like a passion thing, like they were just like, we really want to make more of this game. I don't know why, but I can understand it. Oh, this is. What is Pressure? Has anyone heard of that?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Iron Sky Invasion.
No.
Sacrilegium.
Okay, that's why they went back to Two Worlds too.
Excuse me, I can't even say this one. Civilation. I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce that. Vendetta, Curse of Raven's Cry. That's not even properly grammatical, and that sentence wasn't either. But so yeah, Sacrilegium and Civilation. I don't know how you're supposed to say that. And Vendetta are upcoming titles. And it looks like after Two Worlds 2, the last things that released were Pressure and Iron Sky Invasion. So they have been doing things. At least we can say that much. Anyway, let's talk about something else.
What if this is just a brilliant way for them to get some eyes back on their studio? To be like, look at us, people, we're doing this wacky thing. Look at these other games we want to make.
I don't know why this like made me think of this, but in the same genre, you know what game was kind of underrated, especially for all like the kerfuffle and new kind of news cycle it caused? Kingdoms of Amalur.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I actually beat that game, and that game was an incredibly good, if not great, game. And good.
No, if you continue.
I was just saying it was just really underrated. I just actually remember it fondly when I think about it.
Honestly, I played it and I enjoyed it, but it just didn't stick with me. But honestly, anyone I've heard of talking about it that has played it usually give it pretty like high marks. So I don't know. Beyond the whole legal nonsense that happened with it, I think it probably had a pretty good lifespan.
Yeah, I guess I'm still just kind of gobsmacked that a game as good as it was failed so miserably.
Yeah.
Well, what did it come out around?
2009, was it?
Specifically, like what games came out with it?
Oh,
at the same
what
time?
was around then? Did it come up against like a Mass Effect or something?
That's what I'm wondering if that might have. So, excuse me, it was released in 2012.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
2012 video games. It looks like Mass Effect 3 came out in the same year. I don't know if it was right on top of it. Borderlands 2, really? Is that right? It stood no chance. I'm seeing like Assassin's Creed is every year, but Assassin's Creed, Mass Effect, Borderlands, Diablo 3, Halo 4. The Walking Dead started, so I guess you can kind of say it didn't have its stride, but everyone was probably looking at it. Far Cry 3, did I say Dishonored already?
Mm-mm.
Black Ops, Max Payne, Darksiders
Black
2.
Ops.
Okay.
Oh, never mind. Not Black Ops. That was something else.
Yeah, Journey, XCOM, Sleeping Dogs. It came out in a bad time for anything that wasn't already established. So
Yeah.
that
And
could
it had already had a long troubled development cycle too, because isn't that the one that started out as a MMO, and then they had to kind of start over?
Did it? Was it?
I don't think.
I think is that the game Kurt Schilling was involved with, the baseball player?
Yeah, it is.
Is it? No.
Okay, yeah, I think that's the one, because I remember watching a documentary about video games with him on it long time ago, and he was like already hyping up this Kingdom something MMO or whatever, and it ended up, I believe it turned into Kingdom of Amalur.
Huh. I didn't know that. Oh, and I'm just gonna say this because I worked on it and I worked that release. The Secret World came out in 2012. Haha! I remember.
I love that game. Bring it to the consoles and I'll play it again.
That's not in my hands to do. Yeah, I remember that I was working for Funcom for that release, and it released at the same time Diablo 3 did. And I remember they gave us like a formal announcement: do not install Diablo 3 on your computers at work because you are not allowed to play it right now. Because people were legit like, so if we buy our copies and bring it in here, and let's say we happen to install it, can we play it at some point during the day? They're like, no, don't do that. You will get fired.
Did you ever get any cool like Secret World swag for working there?
Not as cool as you would think. We got like some like lanyards and dog tags that you couldn't get elsewise, I think. But
Not as cool as I think.
no. In the grand scheme of what we could have gotten for that game, no, we did not. I mean, we have infinite. If I use the account that I've lost the password to for my Funcom account, I have access to anything they made or will make. So I guess that's kind of cool. Like I could play Secret World. Well, it's free now. I could play Conan, that MMO, for free if I want to. Not the new MMO, the old one.
Not the one with the swinging.
Yeah, not that one. Not Swinging Dingling, Conan.
Just so I'm up to speed, Secret World is the game where the Cthulhu monsters like invaded modern times or something.
I mean, there's more to it, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just basically a really neat mishmash of a bunch of different like horror genres.
All right, yeah. I had played the beta for that, but my computer wasn't really up to par at that time. I remember having fun though.
Yeah.
It's a game that I dug very, very deeply. It's like it just like everything about the game kind of spoke to me.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting, and like I said, it's free now, so I'm thinking about trying it again, just because 2012 to 2017, it's like they had to make some kind of changes that would have made it more appealing to me, but at the same time, I'm like, but I have that account that has everything I could ever want on it, and I don't know if I want to play on my Steam account, so yeah. I'm weird about my accounts, but you know what else is kind of weird? There's a game that came out a long time ago, and I feel like I always hear that it was really inappropriate, but I don't remember. So, Adam, tell us about it.
Controversial Sega CD game Night Trap getting new release on PS4 and Xbox One. Night Trap is getting remastered and re-released this year on PlayStation 4, Xbox One. Developer Screaming Villains have announced that Night Trap 25th Anniversary Edition, or has announced Night Trap 25th Anniversary Edition. The remaster of the live-action game featuring FMV, or full motion video, is set to release soon, spring in the United States and Europe. Originally launched for Sega CD back in 1992, Night Trap has shown up on other platforms throughout the years like PC and 3DO. The game was controversial back in the early 90s, being part of the U.S. congressional hearings over mature video game content. Night Trap follows 5 teenage girls who find themselves attacked by vampires. It is up to players to protect them. Limited run games will also release a physical version of Night Trap 25th Anniversary Edition for PlayStation 4.
I still don't know. In all my
Wow.
years of knowing what this game is, I still don't know what made it controversial.
It was the scene where there was basically teenage girls in 90s, basically, is what it was. Isn't that right, Adam?
Yeah, basically, as far as I remember it, you're just like watching a bunch of security cameras and basically keeping an eye on like a girls' sleepover party. And
you're watching them have pillow fights, and these creatures are invading the house, and strange concept.
So
keep in mind.
Go ahead.
You go.
I was gonna say, so it was like, it's weird by today's standards, but by back then standards, that might have been what made it controversial. Like today, it's like,
right,
that's odd that you're doing that, but back then it was like, oh no, the house is burning down, the church exploded.
Basically.
Yeah, I mean, this was pretty early. I mean, this was probably around the same time that like Mortal Kombat and stuff was kind of just hitting the scene. So
yeah,
I'm actually really excited about this. I definitely remember this game from when I was like young, though I didn't personally own a Sega CD, so I didn't get to play a whole lot of it. I know that me and my friends have already started talking about having like a playing party where we all like get together and like do a playthrough of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Funny to watch, honestly. I'm sure someone's gonna be streaming this when it comes out.
I'm sure. Yeah. It's like
Wow.
really cool, but it just feels like really out of left field. Like when I read this today, I'm like, like I would have never in a million years thought that was a news story I'm going to read today.
No, definitely not. And the original creators tried to do a Kickstarter a couple years back for a sequel, and it didn't really pan out. So I just can't believe this is getting remastered and re-released. It's gonna make some money just based on the things people have heard over the years. But a lot of people are gonna be very disappointed by how
Tame.
not controversial it is.
Yeah.
It just provides hope that maybe one day we'll get like the remastered version of the 3DO game Plumbers Don't Wear Ties.
That is... I don't... Alright. I'm Googling.
You can...
If you want to see, like, if you want a great just kind of explanation of that game, go watch like the Angry Video Games Nerds review of it, because it is hilarious, and the game is just like... It's not even a game. I can't even call it a game. I don't know what it is or what they were trying to make, but it's very odd.
The game parts were like drawn up and animated in Microsoft Paint.
You're basically watching a movie, and every once in a while you get to decide what happens next.
It's not even a movie; it's a slideshow.
You're right. It isn't a full motion thing. It is just like pictures, kind of like montaging.
Yep.
Yeah.
This seems dumb.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. It is, but it is so like insanely dumb that it's like entertaining to like experience some of it, because you just don't know what the hell's going on. Like I said, watch the Angry Video Games Nerds review of it, because I think that probably does the best justice to like what it is.
I will have to at some point. But we are running low on time, so let's go ahead and jump over to the next story. I'm not going to give you a fancy segue. Take us away.
It doesn't really deserve a fancy segue. So this is coming from warpzone.com. A pretty talented fan has decided to make a 8-bit version of Breath of the Wild for people to play around with. I'm going to skim through this a little bit. The fan game is known as The Legend of Zelda Breath of the NES, and a demo is currently available as a free download through itch.io. Nintendo is usually quick to ask their lawyers to issue a cease and desist order when their characters are used in a fan-created game, but the developer of Breath of the NES has vowed to finish at any costs. Specifically, they told Kotaku that he plans to swap out Link and his Hylian enemies with original characters when the time comes. So why not just start out doing that? I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, it's basically the original Legend of Zelda with the real-time inventory added. I believe there's weapon degradation. He added stuff like I'm pretty sure he has the gliding and the climbing, and it's basically the original Legend of Zelda with the features from Breath of the Wild. It actually does look like it could be fun. I'm not going to try it out because here's the thing, and this guy at least has a plan. I don't know how you guys feel about fan games, but I'm always perplexed about why you wouldn't take that effort and do something that is completely your own. Like this really occurred to me when the Pokemon fan game came out recently. Was it Uranium or Plutonium?
Uranium.
Uranium. Okay. They created 150 unique Pokemon, and they created an entire new region in the Pokemon world and a pretty dark storyline. And it's like, why couldn't you just make it kind of a knockoff original game? So, like, especially, it bothered me with the Metroid 2 fan remake also, that Nintendo tried their best to scrub off the internet immediately. Yeah. Why wouldn't you want to make your own new franchise that Metroid fans could go to and be like, yeah, this is the game I've been waiting for years, and it could be its own potential series at some point, and you could actually make some money instead of having a company issue a cease and desist. I don't know what you guys think about that, but those are my thoughts.
I have three thoughts on that. One, in some cases it could just literally be they just love the series and that's what they want to work on. Two, I can tell you for a fact that like as someone who tried to GM a campaign, a pen and paper tabletop campaign, working without any kind of backdrop is really freaking difficult.
Mm.
Having to create everything, some people can manage it, but it just makes everything infinitely easier if you can just be like, all right, I'm working within this established world. I might do something silly and crazy outside of it, or inside of it, but I have these trappings and safety lines to rely on. Like with Pokemon, it's like I'm doing something crazy. I'm making a whole new world for Pokemon, essentially a whole bunch of new Pokemon, but it relies on the same Pokemon, mechanics and everything that everyone's used to, so it makes sense.
Hmm.
It's just new and fresh. And then on top of that, it's just like if someone is trying to get attention, whether they're like, I'm doing this because I want to, but also because I'm kind of
Mm.
hoping that something comes of it, then you're much more likely to get attention by making Pokemon Uranium, other than instead of like Dokemon got a Dokemal.
Yeah,
You know?
that's a really good point, actually.
Yeah.
I think my all-time favorite fan game. Have either of you guys ever watched the TV show Community?
Yes.
Only the paintball episodes.
Okay, Miles, do you remember the episode where they all play like the 16-bit video game?
No.
There's like an episode where they're all forced to play like a just like a kind of an elaborate video game that was made by Pierce's dad, and then somebody went and made that video game.
Okay, I know I've seen pictures of it. Yeah, I think I heard
Hmm.
about that when that happened. Yeah, that is neat. It's always cool when you see like people go in and they're like, "Hey, this was something that was a little toss away idea in the TV show or movie, and now I'm gonna make it real."
And to you, Chris, yeah, the paintball episodes are pretty awesome.
They are.
Yeah.
They definitely are.
I think the original one is probably one of the best episodes of television ever. Period.
It was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, that show did confuse me. I don't want to go too deep, but that show did confuse me sometimes, like with the zombie episodes and stuff. How that was like not a dream.
Hmm.
Yeah, but anyway, I guess the biggest fan game I want to play is. Do either of you remember Demonic?
Huh.
Is that the one that was in that Adam Sandler movie?
Grandma's Boy?
How dare
No?
you say it was Adam Sandler?
Oh, I've never watched it. It's not my kind of movie at all.
Are you sure? Because that was a really great movie.
I'm positive.
Grandma? Are we talking about Grandma's Boy?
Yes.
Just to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
are
okay.
talking about Grandma's Boy. So yeah, that game, I love it when like someone at my gym was talking about it, like I think Monday, and I was like, that game was actually a real thing that was gonna come out and then got canceled, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I want to see that happen. I want to see someone be like, okay, yeah, it was a game that was actually a game. They put into a movie about a game, and then it got canceled. And I want to see someone make Demonic based on the game that's in the movie that's based on the game.
I have like a weird compulsion whenever that show's on TV. I have to like watch it like till the end. Like it's not a good movie. It's not. But there's something about it that is so bad in such a good way.
It's entertaining.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's stupid and funny and entertaining, and yeah, it's one of the few movies I've seen more than like 3 times because I don't like watching movies over again. But
Sure.
like you said, if it's on Comedy Central, I'll sit there and be like, "Oh, haha, I remember this part.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
that's the part where
exactly.
he fights him in Demonic and kills him. Hey, yeah." So, but yeah, there you go, folks. You have things to look up now over the week because Persona 5, Peter Molyneux lying to our faces again, and Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, all that good stuff. So the free stories this week were someone's taking stuff from the free stories and not deleting it, trying to make me look stupid, Adam. So Ganondorf has a last name. It has been confirmed. Bandai Namco reveals its much anticipated title. It was something Vane. I don't remember, but it looked kind of interesting. You play as vampires. On top of that, digital game sales are staggering, and they're skyrocketing, as anyone would assume, because humanity is kind of lazy, and if you don't have to go to a store, that's what probably most people are going to do. TBS did air a celebrity Street Fighter V tourney between Shaquille O'Neal, some female whose name I don't know, Lupe Fiasco, and some other dude who I don't know, and of course, I would be surprised if Lupe Fiasco didn't win because he's the only one that's actually a game competitor. Steam version of Bayonetta teases Vanquish port, and Silent Hill and Castlevania DLC are coming to Super Bomberman R. I didn't put that on there, did I?
It was one of my original
Okay.
stories I was going to cover, and I just moved it down
Alright.
there when I swapped.
That's A-okay. I was just like, I don't remember seeing this at all. But yeah, so we're gonna go and move on to the thought from nowhere this week. It comes to us from Lord Jesus Crust, the one and only. Hey guys, if you could stop one character death in a game, what game would it be and what character would it be? Hashtag save Zach. I knew what the question was, and I thought I should think about it, and I did not think about it when I should have thought about it. I feel like there's a lot of answers to this that aren't Eris from Final Fantasy, and I can't think of them. Chris, you seem like you have something.
Here's the thing: I constantly forget to scroll down to the to this portion of the document. So, but weirdly, I wouldn't have expected this. But the first thing that came to mind was Zaid in Mass Effect 2, the DLC character, who a lot of people didn't have. Right, but in my game, he died tragically, and I loved that character.
Okay, if we're doing that logic.
If Adam has something that will take up a little bit of time, I'm going to be thinking very quickly for a good answer.
Yeah, okay. I can it's interesting because I think of characters I really like that I wouldn't change their fate simply because I really liked their death. For instance, Mass Effect by far my favorite character in this series. Once again, spoilers on a game that's really old at this point, Mass Effect 3. But Mordin by far was my favorite Mass Effect character.
Oh, yeah.
And like his ending, while I felt like, while I was bummed to see him die, I wouldn't change it because it was just like kind of so perfect for his character because he finally truly makes things right in his like last moment. And so it's just this very epic and noble death. And so I wouldn't want to change that because I think that's kind of very perfect for his character. So I'd probably go with then, because I wasn't able to find a real great deep one. I'll probably jump into the Danganronpa pool. So spoilers for people who haven't beat the two games. Those games are really hard because you meet a really interesting, diverse cast of characters, and you inevitably become invested in some characters more than others. And that really sucks because, like, the very nature of the game is that there's a good chance that your favorite character could die at pretty much any given point throughout the games. So I would probably give a save to my favorite Danganronpa classmate from Danganronpa 2, which is this really awesome dude named Gundam Tanaka, who's this crazy dude. Like he's like a high school student, and they're all like exceptional one way or another, but he's really goofy because like he acts like he's some kind of crazy anime villain. He acts like he's like Sephiroth or something like that. But in reality, like what his like talent is and why he's at this high school is he's really good at taking care of animals, and he keeps on talking about these demons that he possesses. They're really like 4 hamsters that he keeps on his person at all time. And so he was really fun because he had like this really overblown personality, but then there was this very dual, it was totally overblown, and actually it was like this dude who like really liked animals and took really good care of animals, and it was just like a really fun and interesting character. And unfortunately he dies at some point. I won't go into too much more depth, but
since we've all said our Mass Effect character, even though I definitely went back and played through like 3 games to change this death, when Tali, fun fact, if you don't know, Tali can commit suicide in Mass Effect 2, I think. It's either
Wait,
2
really?
or 3. Yeah. Whichever one, I think it was in 3, I think, when the Geth and the her race, which is called, it's been too long. Whatever her race is called, I've forgotten. It's been a long while. When they finally actually have their like head-to-head battle thing, if you don't have enough clout between the races and you fail a hidden check that has 8 different bits, like it has 8 tick marks essentially. If you haven't filled up, I think 4 of the 8, you fail the check. And if you side with like, hey, you guys kind of did this to the Geth. I'm not saying this is retribution, but let's give them a chance to do some stuff. She will just like throw herself off a mountain, literally. Like, she will be standing there and she will just like let herself fall into a crevice, and like that happened, and like I just felt my heart kind of clench, and I was like, I put down the controller, I went out the next day, bought Mass Effect 1 and 2, and looked up a guide on how to do it right. I was like, this ain't happening again.
Tally, no.
Yeah.
I did not know that was a possibility.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Now, I will say that the one, like the Mass Effect, surprisingly, because it was a character that I wasn't super invested in for a large portion of the series, but the one that actually got me to sniffle up a little bit was definitely like the death of Sane Krios.
Yeah, that was sad.
Yeah, when he's like doing that prayer, and you're like, you know, and then you find out he was actually praying for you. I was like, that was like a little heartbreaking.
He's like so badass, and they like, it was brave, I guess, because they had to know he was a lot of people's favorite character, and they're like, he's not gonna go out in a blaze of glory. He's gonna get sick and he's gonna die. It's like, oh.
For as much as people shit on Mass Effect 3, it had so many good moments.
I don't understand that, because like Mass Effect 3 was fine up until the ending. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
And the ending wasn't even like the worst ending I've seen either. I mean, it was. I mean, it was probably disappointing given like how good the series was. But was it like? Did it destroy the game? By no means. Absolutely not.
No, it didn't. And another death that I regret that I also went back and fixed was in the very first game. If you're at the Krogan breeding facility and you don't have enough clout with Rex, and he kind of like. The thing that pissed me off so much, he had been in my party since I got him. He wasn't even like enraged. He wasn't at the point of unreasonability, and Ashley just shot him in the head, and that guaranteed her dying for the rest of my Mass Effect experience. Because I was like, 1, I don't like you as a character. You're kind of racist and speciesist. 2, you're ugly. 3. You killed my favorite character, so you're gonna die every chance I get to kill you. So yeah, I definitely went back and got his grandfather's armor and everything, so like you could auto calm him down. But yeah, I was very upset.
So, unfortunately, all I could think of, and this can't be a real answer. It just can't, because it's built into the story in a significant way. It's the most recent thing I played. Is there are 4 characters in Breath of the Wild that met an end, and I would have liked so much to see more of them.
Yeah.
I'm going to specifically say, though, Falco, because screw it. They have a character in Breath of the Wild who is just Falco from Star Fox. He's a little more bird-like, but that's freaking Falco. He has the exact same personality, same attitude. I don't know about the voice. I don't remember Falco's voice much, but
Connected universes.
Right. Yep. They put my boy in a Zelda game, and I would like to see about 32 more cutscenes with him.
I thought of that as an answer, Chris. Believe it or not, that crossed my mind. If I were to pick one, I would actually probably pick the Zora princess, simply because she was really interesting, but she had really, really intimate stakes with Link, and that would have been something like, which is kind of interesting because it was basically kind of a callback to Ocarina of Time. But anyways, I would have liked to seen, because that storyline was like kind of essentially interesting, because that's kind of tragic, because she was basically in love with Link, but Link's almost like his fate is almost like pushes him towards Zelda, and so that's a really interesting thing to see how all of that would have played out. I mean, and you got the whole thing about like she had like made this like armor, which is like this ceremonial like wedding armor to fit Link. I mean, that was just some really great stuff there. That
chest piece, I wore it for the entire game just because of the awesome story that was behind it. I couldn't wear any other chest piece besides that one.
I just think I think there was some really good stuff there, and I would have loved to have seen that developed out more.
Yep. I agree with that. That was my favorite part of the backstory for Breath of the Wild. I really did not like her voice acting, though. It always felt a little bit forced to me. But I liked that character. I liked all 4 of those champions. Urbosa was awesome. You probably saw the least of Urbosa. So I would like to see an expansion. I would love if the expansion involved those characters in some way. Like if it was a piece of the backstory that you could play, that would be kind of neat.
I would dig that. I would love to see like kind of an expansion on those characters, because I just thought they were really interesting, and I felt like that was kind of new. You know, I thought that was just kind of something cool about the game, is that you were like a little more invested in these side characters.
Yep.
Indeed. Well, gentlemen, although I like talking about games quite a bit, I also like
Mhm.
sleeping so I can wake up in the
Fair.
morning for work. Even though I'm
Fair.
lying, I don't want to wake up in the morning for work at all. Hey, no one I work with watches this, so it doesn't matter, and they already know how I feel. Anyway, so we record on Tuesday nights, and we do that live at Mong Plays, and that's on Twitch. So Twitch. Excuse me, twitch.tv/mongplays. You should be there in chat with us. We will respond usually in chat, not necessarily in voice because people are watching this on YouTube and that'd be really awkward if they got half the conversation. But definitely be there. You can hang out with us, Lord Jesus Crust, and the random people who drop in every now and then. You can also email us at contact.mong@gmail.com. Yeah, that came out right. Just like Lord Jesus Christ did, if you want us to see your thoughts from nowhere, or if you have questions or ideas or whatever you have to say, hopefully it's nice and not either vulgar or mean or rude. But hey, send us that email. On top of that, if you want to. Okay, random email. If you want to jump into our Discord, we also have a special chat just for you where you can where you can type out your thought from nowhere, and I will check it, and we'll add it to the list of thoughts from nowhere that are going to be applicable and ready for our next podcast. Words. I'm not good at them right now because my face can't move. Uh, you can find our Mong Twitter account at Mong.com. You can find us on YouTube at Mong Network. We only have one now. That's really neat. You can also find us on Facebook, Tumblr, and Instagram. So search up Middle Nora Gaming or Mong. Also, oh yeah, if you host us, you can show up on the video, so that's real cool. And if you want to be awesome, and oh no, I forgot the most important part. We have a website, and it's called Middle Nora Gaming. Surprise! That's where you can go to check out all of our editorials, news, reviews. If something goes up on our YouTube channel, there's a story that goes up there. Just go there. That's where all the stuff is. Check it out. And also, if you want to be awesome and help us keep the lights on, we do have a Patreon. We would very much appreciate anything you're willing to give. And if you're not, we still appreciate you for all the things you do, whether that's reading, listening, watching, retweeting, reblogging, reflogging, even. We have enemies, and if you flog them after we flog them, you're cool. Yeah, if you want if you want to follow us on Twitter, I am the least active, probably. I don't know, but my name's Furious Milk on Twitter, and Adam is,
Fanboy_Adam.
and Chris is,
CD_Cobb.
and of course, if you want to get the most of us, you should be watching when we're live and streaming, or just watch the podcast or listen to it. That's all. Have a good night, everyone.
Ropes and sticks.
I gotta go eat.
I'm going to bed. Night.